Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another Telling It Like It Is. My name is Jade Albert, our Peer Guidance. We guide and connect small business startups and entrepreneurs. Sharing knowledge and stories is why I started Telling It Like It Is. It is live. You have a question, ask away. If you're watching this after the fact, we will answer your questions, so please ask. I'd like to thank Community Now magazine for their support. They engage, educate, and inspire us to be stronger together. Stronger together is going to be a big theme today, and I am excited about our guests, Tim Carwell and Sam Jenkins, the founders of covidcontinuity.com. Gentlemen, how are you today?
No complaints.
Well, that's good. That's good. I like that. No one wants to listen anyway. I know we had a great conversation a little bit before, and I wanted to kind of talk about how we met, because I think connecting and networking is such an important. And you guys came on to talk about COVID continuity on an Onami, and I reached out and we had a conversation about it. I loved what you were doing, and now we're going to be here. Obviously, we're seeing some sort of a resurgence in the COVID cases, which isn't good, but we're going to talk about where you guys are.
I always let Sam start.
So this has been an interesting journey. Coming back to your kind of initial point around building network, and even taking a step back from that, building community. I think that's where Tim and I really started when we were thinking about the COVID Continuity project. It really started with it started with a text message. Tim doesn't sleep very much. He gets up really early in the morning. I think he has the entrepreneurial curse, of course. And but he reached out to me on a Saturday morning. I would say it's probably March 17th, something along those lines, maybe the 14th. But with a simple text message that said, "I have an idea," and that idea spawned into a project that I think kind of consumed us over 60 or 90 days of the first 60 or 90 days of the pandemic. Tim and I have been friends for a long time and worked together on projects over the years. But this was pretty special because it was about supporting our friends, our families, our neighbors, to make sure that we had tools and resources to be able to stay on top. And that community, I think, if I think about the one output that has come out of this project, it's the strength of that community, or the resonance of the strength of that community, that has been so important for me. Tim?
Yeah, we didn't really realize what we were doing at the beginning. I reached out to Sam. I own an emergency services business, so I was sending out a lot of pandemic response plans via email early on, as people started to realize that they probably needed to think about a transition. And Sam and I were working on a separate project, because I try to do business with socially conscious organizations, which Punchcard is. So it was just really serendipitous that we connected. And as I was telling him, I'm kind of tired. I sent out 300 emails last night, and he's like, "What?" And there's got to be a better way. And he said it sarcastically, and the way he can say things, and I don't get offended. But so we just talked about how and what we could do to help our community. So my community, because I'm a little bit more. I've got businesses and I serve customers outside of the province of Alberta, and Sam is very locally focused. And what we were able to do is create this global platform that people in different communities can use for free to develop safe policies and procedures and find documents and do that sort of stuff. That was really what happened. I don't think it would have ever happened the way it did if I didn't come to Sam with the initial idea. If I'd gone to somebody else, I don't think we would have gotten what we ended up getting. And that's not to toot our own horn or anything like that. It was just, it happened fast. We were early on. We didn't question each other's reasons for doing things. We just did it because we were trying to help people. And I think that the champions that we've been able to gather along with us, listen to their heart and move forward. So that's absolutely a compliment to you, Jade, because you were one of the few people that reached out and were like, how can I help? And you are so stereotypical with the champions that we have. Like, it's just like, okay, this makes sense. I'm not sure how logically, but I'm going to help you. And that's why we've been successful. The content isn't ours. The ideas aren't all ours. There is a lot of people that just, and I said I wouldn't say this previous to this, but just get it. We're conscious, we're socially conscious. We want to make sure that there's businesses around in the future so that we have customers to serve. That is what it is. And some people are, like we said just earlier on, how are you monetizing this? Blah, 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 blah. And I tell Sam and I've told everybody, this is not a not-for-profit. This is not a for-profit business. This is a not-profit. We just threw time and money at it because it was something that we felt we needed to do because it was a part of us. So I don't know. That's my answer to that question.
No, I mean, I loved it. And when I saw you guys speak, that's the first thing that went through my mind was like, wow, this is great. I mean, I was talking to, at that point, probably 50 or 60. I mean, it went way up from there. Entrepreneurs and small businesses where no one knew what was going on. No one knew what to get, where the information was coming from. No one knew. And I was like, wow, this is such a great asset that can help people. And as I said before, the stronger together thing, when you're out there and you can say, hey, I can go to this one website, which you can just click on in the comment section to check it out, covidcontinuity.com, and get access to that. And I mean, even moving forward right now, there's going to be a big announcement tonight. Who knows what it's going to be? You guys and someone will have that content right there in one spot, and you don't have to surf the net and go look for 50 or 60 different links. So I think it's such an important a community builder and a place to find the truth about what is going on.
Mm-hmm. You're on mute.
I think we have signs for that, but I think what's kind of interesting what you were talking about there was that the speed, right? So this project, I mean, Tim's background is in emergency services and crisis communications, and he's been working. If you think about some of the major events that have happened in our province over the past 10 years, so looking at High River or Fort McMurray or these big events, Tim was on the ground supporting people and organizations. And so his background in terms of moving quickly, unapologetically, but also to make sure that people have the tools and resources to be able to solve real world issues, I think was actually kind of the cornerstone behind this. And speed was of the essence. We knew that as the ground was changing, as the situations were changing, we had to keep things up to date. So an example that I'd use would be wage subsidy programs, specifically for small businesses. As those programs were evolving, and they were evolving in real time, we were working with a bunch of different partners, both in the accounting space, but in the tax space, and in the logistics space, to be able to make sure that we got really good information out to people who needed it. And because we were aggregating it from a bunch of different sources, that was really where the value came into play, is that people didn't have to sift through a bunch of different places to be able to get the tools they needed to be able to take the action today. One of our core values, and Tim will talk about this in a moment, because I think we're fiercely proud about the values that we were trying to live, but was really around supporting action. This wasn't about navel gazing. This wasn't about kind of theoretically we should do this. It was actually about how do we keep the doors open today to keep people, businesses, families safe, both today, tomorrow, and into next year.
And we're both pretty empathetic guys. I think I can comfortably say that. And when we're having conversations with business leaders that we have a lot of respect for, they're friends of ours or not friends of ours or whatever, and they're saying, I just want somebody to tell me what to do. In my entire business career, I would have never thought I would see that many business owners that vulnerable. And so it was a real impetus for us just to like, okay, what do you need? Here you go. And the only thing that we ever asked is that if they felt that the content was good, if you've got something to contribute, please become a champion. If you think that you've got something that you've downloaded and put your logos on and is now yours, if you think that somebody else can use it, then give it to them. We don't have little cookies and whatever tracking people. We don't care. It's just the right thing to do. And if somebody wants to have their logo on the stuff that we created and send it to somebody, whatever, it doesn't matter to us at all. It's just a matter of doing the right things, because when you're having a Zoom meeting and you can feel and see somebody that's always been that stoic business leader like welling up with tears, it's like, oh man, talk about a motivator, unless you're dead.
Yeah, that vulnerability. And I think, for Tim and I, this was not the first project that we worked on together. I think this was probably the first thing that we built from scratch, and like we took our lumps, right? I'd love to say that we didn't make mistakes. We didn't make any massive ones.
We never fought. Never.
But we were able to be aligned, right? And so that healthy debate was actually really important in terms of building a new product. Like I said earlier, Tim's organization and one of Tim's businesses focuses on crisis communications at scale. And with his team, they work like a very well-oiled machine. We were building some new ground with this, and we at PunchCard we build digital products, things like COVID continuity or websites and applications and that type of those types of tools. We work in Agile, and so that type of language, and we were talking about this before the break, that type of language between crisis communications and Agile development, it was like we had the same dictionary. We may use some different language, but that ability to iterate, that ability to learn from each other, apply that learning, and do it better the next time, I think is really one of the root elements of COVID continuity. Nobody knows everything, and to be quite fair, we don't know what we don't know. And that was very, very true in those early days of COVID, not only about the actual virus, but about how our economy was going to potentially thrive or not, how our communities were potentially going to be affected. And we wanted to make sure that we could put enough resources and tools in front of folks to be able to be as healthy as possible. Somebody mentioned on the chat here a fantastic resource, and that's what we were trying to be, a resource to be able to support.
Thanks, Deborah.
Yes, thank you, Deborah, for the comment, and I couldn't agree more. When I saw you guys speak there, it instantly, there was a big internal relief, because I was like, the people that I was talking to, I was just like, I don't know. I have no idea about, let's get prepared. Let's have something. And then, of course, I was willing to share the website and all that too. I didn't contribute a whole lot to it other than promoting it and things along those lines. But the importance of it, I think, was there was, as you said, so much uncertainty, and we didn't know what we were going to do and where we were going to go, how long it was going to be a lockdown. And where we are now, I think we're in a better spot because of people like yourself. And let's talk about a few of those champions. Is there anybody that you want to point out that was able to say, hey, let's step up and let's help us? And I'm sure, you reached out to thousands and thousands of people, and usually in that case, only probably a handful help anyway. But those people that help, should get some recognition.
Well, I've got a couple that come to mind. Right from the get-go, a gentleman named Daryl Black that I've done a ton of work with. He just stepped up, and the same thing, Daryl. I've got some questions about this area and specifically leadership tools while you're dealing with stress. He just sent them to me, and I uploaded them as that quick. He was very, very early on. Another gentleman that has no experience at all with crisis communications, Mike Backus, owns Optimum Talent. He same deal. Here's a bunch of HR information. You've got people that are being transitioned out, and here's a tool that we have online that can help them build resumes and do those types of things. And it was just sort of like it just sort of happened. There are so many people. Marcy Charlie works with the Alberta government. She was reaching out to a bunch of not-for-profits saying, hey, this is a great resource. And the list just goes on and on and on. And they're actually on our website because our job is to be cheerleaders for those people. So Jade, you say you didn't do much. Having this conversation right now is huge. So content is huge. equally as important is having somebody like yourself that can increase our reach. So we didn't really try to necessarily define what our champions are. We tried to just take a step back and go, okay, what are our champions doing? And so we've got all sorts of different people doing different things. Those are three. I hope nobody's watching, because I feel bad if I didn't mention somebody's name. But there's so many people, and it just depended on the day and where we were. And when people dove in, wow, like they were part of Sam and I's little clique for a couple of days or a week or a month or whatever, and then whoop, they're gone, and then they'll come back. So that's my 3.
Yeah. So what's interesting about that is that digital bubble that we built around COVID continuity. First of all, it stretched far beyond our province, and I think that surprised both Tim and I quite a bit. We got to meet people across the country and around the world. In those first couple of weeks, we were having weird timed Zoom calls with people with accents, getting to meet people, talking about their economic recovery, talking about their communities and development and whatnot. And I think we learned a little bit about ourselves in terms of our resilience, understanding that we were building something that we knew that we would need to be able to keep our organization safe and our communities safe. But part of this kind of open source effort was that we knew that there are other communities that were probably in need as well. And that's where those champions really stepped up. The word champion, I think, was really, really definite for us. I mean, for both Tim and I, we chose that word very carefully when we were thinking about this community that we were building. I mean, granted, we're in the city of champions, and apologies for your Calgary listeners, but from my perspective, the nature of a champion isn't about winning, but it's about torch bearing, and it's about making sure that we can pass that energy from person to person, community to community, to be able to stay strong, keep the light going, as it were. And whether or not people have different opinions on the political front, I think the economic resilience, which is really where we were focused, was maybe a little bit even less divisive, ironically. There was no winning in business at this point. The competition wasn't whose business can do better. The competition was how can we support each other as effectively as possible.
Yeah, and like early on, also we had probably a call center that could swallow us up easily. Out of the States, join our cause and help us there. So yeah, we tried to live the talk as much as we could. If somebody was willing to help, we didn't really care what they were doing or why they were doing what they were doing. I do want to mention the business link. They became I guess what I would want to call it, a partner of ours. The content that they have, and coupled with ours, it's been pretty powerful. There's lots of things that they were already doing that was very complimentary. So we're actually embedded in their website business link for those folks. Well, in Alberta for sure, from a legal standpoint and things like that they might want to look at. There's a good connection there. So Shay, I did mention your name.
And I just put the business link website up there, so you can just click on it in the comments section, and you can go to it. So again, I'm talking with Carwell and Sam Jenkins, the founders of COVID Continuity. Their website's in the comments section. You can click on it from there. And I think you guys just talked about the importance. Again, I can't stress the stronger together comment that you made, and it's a hashtag I've used. If anybody ever uses hashtags, I have no idea, but I mean, it is just something that it's passionate to me about Alberta, and that's really why I changed my business to even just focus on Alberta rather than go around it, because we've got so many great businesses, so many great leaders here. Now, with kind of COVID lingering, we don't really know what's going to happen to it and how long it's going to stay around, and the schools are open. What's next for you guys?
we're going to continue the conversations, and as we'd mentioned, Sam came up with this. We did not want to become the noise that we were trying to fight against. That was really critical to both of us, and we're like, actually, I consider Sam like a brother to me. So sometimes you don't even have to talk to your family members. You just know that it's sort of time to take a step back, and we kind of unconsciously did that. So I started working more with my community. I'm from Beaver First Nation, and tried to work with nations across the country. Sam recognized that, we need to create some levity, and we need to, have people smile. So they built this, I think, brilliant campaign. And you got to show the You're on Mute campaign. And because we actually happened, and I don't know whether we were on camera or not, but it just sort of, we needed to take a step back so that we were still in people's minds, but not, we were becoming preachy, I guess is the best way to put it. But as to social organizations, it's really important that we continue. It's what we are. We have to do those types of things. So Sam's initiative was to help, and you'll have to take it away from there, Sam, because I don't know exactly the whole spiel.
Well, actually, where it kind of came from, it happened to us on the conversation here today. We've all been on Zoom calls, and somebody says, "Hey, you're on mute," and it happens time and time again, even as prepared as we are. And one of my business partners, Eston, he said we should get some T-shirts that say "You're on mute," and we laughed about it. And a couple days later, he said, "No, actually, we need to do something about this. It's getting a little bit silly." And so then we did a little bit of prototyping, and we built these signs. And our goal with the Mute campaign is actually to raise some dollars for organizations that are working towards building or supporting equity-seeking voices. So for the month of September and October, we're donating proceeds from the signs that we're raising to Camp Firefly, which supports LGBTQ2+ youth here in the province of Alberta. And then we'll be seeking some other organizations to support as we continue with the campaign. And I think it's in the same vein as kind of with both ComAlert and Punchcard. We build these pet projects around supporting our community, our communities, and I mean that old adage around you get more love when you give it out. I think is very, very true. What we noticed with COVID continuity, people have said, like Tim was mentioning, well, what's the angle on this? Like, what's the value proposition? What's the business model? The business model was
LOVE.
100%. And I mean, do I think that the bank will I can't pay my mortgage with love, but it resonates with my staff. We're building a workplace where people realize that it's not just profit, it's people over profit. And I think that's something that's been really, really important for ComAlert, for Punchcard, and then for a lot of these small initiatives that we work on that we work on as a team. So as a quick shameless plug, if people are interested in getting their own signs, we do have them for sale. Proceeds, like I said, are going to Camp Firefly, and you can go to mute.punchcard.io. That's our little e-commerce store. And maybe I'll let Tim talk about some of the stuff that they've been working on as well.
Well, I mean, I did want to answer fundamentally the question was, and it's that typical arc, right? We our champions got it right away. And so we got lots of help, lots of content, lots of communication going on, and it kind of went up, and then everybody's getting the fatigue and it's going back down again. But what we've been able to do, because we do talk fairly regularly, we know that the second wave is coming. So what we've been really successful doing is having conversations with people that are smarter than both of us, so that we're prepared to put content on the site when it starts to get stressful. So we know right now there's a lot of conversations around the right things to do with schools, right things to do with specific communities. So we're kind of gathering that content now, and we'll build back up as the capacity to handle information it decreases with our audience. That's when we'll start to push a little bit more and go and say, this is where you need to go. So we're waiting for, let's call it an opportunity. I don't know what the hell you call it, but when when people start to feel sad, that's when we'll reach out and we haven't really hit that. I don't, it's not scientific. We don't have any algorithms around this. We just talk a lot to really cool people, and they are nice enough to be vulnerable. And when that happens, we both instinctively know that we need to kind of move forward. So to answer your question, wave 2 is coming. I think there's going to be a lot of stress around, like right now, quite honestly, it's the weather. Everybody's okay because they can go outside. Everybody's they can see family and have social distancing. And if you go on my Facebook feed, all you'll see is campfire pictures, because that I hang out and the other people hang out on the other side of the fire, and I feel pretty good. And I live in Canmore, so I'm biking a lot and I'm doing those types of things. But as it starts to get darker, as we're not able to go outside because it's -40 or whatever, I think that level of stress is going to go up. I love my kids, and I just know what they were like as students, and I know what I was like as a student. My heart goes out to parents, because it's our life, the lives of all of us have changed. So I'm sorry for going on and on and on, but I think we'll ramp up once it starts to become darker and colder.
Yeah, well, no, absolutely. And I mean, we're having a beautiful fall, and even just walking around, seeing people, kids in playgrounds, things along those lines. Mm-hmm. I love that the mute campaign. Again, it's I posted it up there. It is in the comment section, so you can just click on the link there to get to it. And I mean, it is. Who knows what's going to happen over the next handful of months. And that's one thing that I really like to stress is, for anybody that's listening, and I know Tim said he hopes no one is listening. I hope boatloads of people are listening.
That's such a good interview. All right.
Yeah, I hope no one's listening to this. Thanks for your support, Jade. You got no viewers. But yeah, I mean, it's great, and I can't stress the fact that how many people I told to go to the site to say, hey, it doesn't matter if it's government of Canada or whoever it is, someone's posting some information out there that is going to help you, and asking for help is not a sign of weakness. I promote that all the time. We talk about it all the time. And I can't thank you guys enough for putting this together to, not only helping Alberta, but really the rest of the world. And it's something special, and you should be congratulated for that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I know the last question is always the same, but I kind of wanted to put a little spin on it, I guess a COVID spin on it. And I guess if you guys, we can start with you, Tim, because you say Sam always starts. But if you have one piece of advice for a small business startup or entrepreneur going through COVID, what would that be?
Find friends that are invested in your success. Vendors, actual friends, spouse if you have one, partner. You can't do this alone, and you'll make great and amazing lifelong relationships if you take a risk. If you're an entrepreneur, you're already doing it, so this should be easy for you. That would be my. Don't try to do it on your own, and really partner with people that are willing to invest in you for no other reason than they want to see you succeed.
Oh, that's a pretty good one. I'm going to say ditto on that one, but I think I'll also fall back on something that Tim and I have talked about quite a bit over the course of the pandemic, and both of our organizations did a lot of work working on our core purpose and values. And when we started working on COVID continuity, it just made sense for us to be able to develop those things. And so my one piece of advice, if above all else, I mean, there's lots of things to do, like Tim was mentioning there, but I think coming back to your purpose and understanding your core values, if you don't know those things, it makes it pretty difficult to react quickly. For the team at Punch Card, we exist to create and transform. The COVID Continuity Project fit within that value set pretty closely. And when it comes down to like one of our core values around standing up to do what's right, well, that's just what this was. When Tim said, hey, I've got this idea, my response was, I like ideas, and this was the right thing to do. And yeah, we're not as active right now because there are lots of actors in the marketplace. But at the time, we needed to fill a need, and we needed to stand up. And so my advice to entrepreneurs who are both starting or kind of at the tail end of their journey, that understanding of your core values is what gives you the freedom to be able to act decisively with the right amount of strength. Because we all know that entrepreneurship, building a business, it's way harder than anybody lets on. And so we need to be able to fall back on some of that muscle memory associated to our values.
Oh, and those are both great answers. And I'm even going to throw my 2 cents in here, because what I found from talking to hundreds of businesses over the last months was that there was a really big emphasis on people. And it wasn't so much about profit and what we're going to do. Everyone, it seemed like every employee, anybody was really worried about their employees and how they were doing. And we haven't touched on this a whole lot, because I think the mental side of this it's going to take years to figure out what's going to happen to some of these people that were sent, went home or lost their jobs or whatever it may be, and didn't know how to handle it. But I really saw a lot of employees really focus on the mental wellness of their people, which made me smile, because I think it's something that I focus on in my life a lot, and this hit home a little bit during this time for our family. So I'm really happy to see that there's a lot of support out there, and you guys are part of that and putting it in one space. And I can't thank you guys enough for what you've done, what you've put out there. And I'm anything you guys ever need from me, I'm there for you. So thank you so much for doing what you're doing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, there's a sign again. We want to get a punch card. Donate back to the community. So again, Sam, Tim, thank you so much for your guys' time today. I really appreciate it, and I know we'll be talking soon. So I hope you guys have a great day.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Jay.
Gotcha. Bye bye.